What if the world's biggest, most powerful government just ran out of money?
Hello everyone and welcome. You know that crazy scenario I just mentioned? It sounds like something straight out of a disaster movie, right? Well, believe it or not, that's pretty much what's happening in the United States. Today, we're going to break down the 2025 U.S. government shutdown, a huge event that's sending shockwaves way beyond America's borders. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. First, what a shutdown actually is. Then we'll get into the political mess that started it all. We'll also look at who's paying the price, the long-term damage, how this one is different, and why the whole world is paying attention. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so first things first, what does it actually mean for a government to shut down?
Well, it's actually more straightforward than it sounds. Think of it like this. The U.S. government's new year for its budget starts on October 1st. And before that day hits, Congress has one main job: pass the spending bills to keep everything running. If they can't agree, well, the money spigot gets turned off. Government departments literally run out of cash. And the bottom line is, when the funding stops, a whole lot of government services stop right along with it.
Now, to be clear, it's not like the entire country just grinds to a halt. There are what's called essential services that have to keep going. We're talking about the military, air traffic control, social security checks still going out. But, and this is a big but, a ton of other services, the ones they label non-essential, they just stop. Suddenly, national parks are closed. If you need a passport, good luck, that's going to slow to a crawl. Even critical medical research can get put on ice.
So, how on earth did we get to this point? Why did this shutdown happen? Well, it boils down to one thing, really: a massive political game of chicken.
Okay, so here's the breakdown of the standoff. You've got Republicans who are pushing for some really big spending cuts. They also want to change how money is spent on things like immigration and climate initiatives, and a lot of this is shaped by Donald Trump's priorities. Then, on the other side, you've got the Democrats. They're refusing to budge, calling these demands political blackmail. They just want to pass a straightforward funding bill, no strings attached. And since neither side was willing to give an inch, when that October 1st deadline came and went, boom, the funding just vanished. So, while the politicians are locked in this staring contest in Washington, who's actually paying the price? This is where the shutdown stops being a political headline and starts getting very, very real for a lot of people.
The immediate impact, it's all about people. We're talking about almost 900,000 federal workers who are furloughed. That's just a fancy word for being sent home without pay. Imagine that. And get this, there are another 700,000 people, folks like military members and TSA agents, who are considered essential. They still have to show up for work, but they aren't getting paid either, not a single cent until this whole mess is sorted out.
And the damage to the economy? It's just staggering. For every single week this thing drags on, it's estimated to shave $15 billion off the U.S. GDP. That is a colossal amount of money just vanishing from the economy.
And you can feel this in your everyday life too. Thinking of a trip to a national park? Nope, they're closed. Need a passport for an international trip? That's going to be a long wait. And some of the scarier stuff, agencies like the CDC and the National Institutes of Health are seeing major staff cuts. That means crucial medical research just gets paused. The longer this goes, the more you start to see real jobs disappear. Not just in the government, but everywhere.
Okay, so that's the pain we're feeling right now. But what happens if this drags on for weeks or even longer? That's when we could start to see a really dangerous domino effect.
The long-term risks here are no joke. For one, the U.S. credit rating could actually get downgraded. That basically means the world sees the U.S. as less reliable, making it more expensive for the country to borrow money. Global investors could start getting nervous, losing faith in America's financial stability. And of course, there's the political fallout. Whichever party gets the blame for this could be in for a world of hurt come the 2026 midterm elections. Not to mention, it just makes America look unstable on the world stage.
You know, this isn't the first time the U.S. government has shut down. It's happened before. But there's something about this 2025 shutdown that feels different, unprecedented even. So if you remember back to 2018, 2019, that was the longest shutdown ever. 35 days, all over a fight about funding for a border wall. This time, it's not just that the shutdown started on the very first day of the fiscal year. The really wild part, we're seeing official government websites being used to post messages that point fingers and directly blame the other political party. That is a line that has never been crossed before, and it signals a really worrying erosion of trust.
All right, let's pull the camera back for a second. Because you might think this is just a U.S. domestic issue, right? Wrong.
The whole world is watching this play out, and believe me, they have a very good reason to be nervous.
The simple truth is, when the American economy catches a cold, the rest of the world can get the flu. A long shutdown in the world's biggest economy can send shudders through global stock markets. It erodes confidence. It creates a kind of instability that absolutely does not stay contained within U.S. borders.
So let's just put it all together. You have a political fight over spending that has left almost 1 million people without a paycheck, slammed the brakes on public services, and is bleeding billions from the economy. It's a crisis with ordinary people trapped right in the middle, which leaves us with the two biggest questions of all. Who's really to blame for all this, and how does it finally end?
Hey, if this explainer helped you make sense of all this, do me a favor and hit that like button. Share it with anyone you think should see it, and of course, subscribe for more breakdowns on the big stories. And I really want to know what you think. Drop your answer to that last question in the comments. Thanks for tuning in.